You gotta keep digging.
This is how they did it in Vietnam. They walked through the jungle in little teams of 4. Never usually above eye level. Am I right, guys?
I don't know. Give me some blue string, Jeff. Come on. This awful surviving. Back when we inflicted a little more pain.
Yes, hello and good evening. Survivor 43, episode 11, Hiding in Plain Sight, has aired here on this Wednesday, November 30th, 2022. But we're just getting started here on Super Mario Brothers podcast. You're streaming live on Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitch. You might be listening to the audio version. I'm Dave Mader, joined by my brother Jeff Mader, and co-host Josh Foster and Jaemeel Robinson coming in here as we're down as the final 7 became the final 6 in this 11th episode, and we see Sammy get voted out. Jeff loses his draft pick, the second overall pick. It's gone.
He had a good run.
But how are you guys doing tonight? Jeff, what was your reaction to this episode?
I kind of just thought that Sammy just kind of had no chance. Like, he even said it in the tribal. It's like, well, if what I hear is true, I might as well do my shot in the dark. The episode might as well have been called Shot in the Dark. Because that's what it was.
Yeah. Jaemeel, did you also feel that like this was the end of Sammy as soon as we got his little package about his mom and he's like saying like my mom thinks I don't listen to her, but I listen to her all the time and I failed to try. I was like, sorry, I'll let you respond before I continue.
It was over the moment he came back from tribal and he had that awful sequence where he's like, oh no, it was Gabriel who voted.
I don't know. I think I voted for somebody else. What do you mean?
It was over.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, you got caught, and it's like you have nowhere to go. You had nowhere to go. It was brutal. It was so bad. I felt bad for him. That's how bad it was.
Yeah. Okay. And Josh, hello and good evening. And how did you feel about Sammy's performance in this episode? The whole story of the episode.
Well, to sum up his whole story arc that I've seen in this kind of second half of the season, it was a lot of talk, no bite. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't really do. It was a lot of fluff, right? Like, he just kept talking, he kept trying to do stuff, and in the end, there's nothing, right? Like, the shot in the dark was pretty much just like the icing on the cake of nothing that he pretty much created.
Yeah, flashy player, perhaps.
Not even.
No?
For 19, I guess maybe. I don't know. Like,
do you think he comes back?
Something.
He's only 19, but
no.
his mind is older.
He might come back in like 10 years. It's either that or next season. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't think
is it Ellie for second chances, or is it Sammy for second chances, Jeff?
Ellie more than Sammy.
Probably Ellie more. Yeah. Sammy just didn't really play with agency. He kind of had he had good like intentions, but his execution was always like, why are you doing that? Like, why are you cozying up with Carla? You didn't need to do that. Like these different like moments in the game where it's like, do you not see the type of player Carla is? Like, why are you hitching your game to somebody that's a cutthroat player? It's kind of stupid. Like he did a couple boneheaded things where I was just like, you're smarter than this, But I just think, with lacked experience. And maybe if he did play again when he was like 25 or something, he might have a better go. But I just saw somebody that was kind of a little green, to the game.
Yeah, I agree. He's like a consummate rookie. He's like kind of like the wide-eyed kid. It's all big and new, and he's on a TV show, and but I couldn't help but kind of roll my eyes. He's like, my parents tell me I failed to try, and I disappoint them. And I'm looking at these photos. He's on the football team. He seems to have a good thing going. He's got a huge family. He's on Survivor at 19. You're doing all right, bud. Don't worry. You'll figure it out. It's
and that confessional at the end. Okay, we'll get to that at the end of the episode. But that was just brutal about the money and everything, right? He would do. But anyways, we'll talk about that in a bit.
What, and he is like his goodbye speech, or is like
like the whole like talk about I just wasted all, or I on a Tesla or something like that. It was like really like okay.
I'm glad you didn't win.
Yeah, it was fine. I once it was an episode. I was like, if somebody other than Sammy gets voted on this episode, I'll be very surprised, And as soon as it was like, maybe it's Carla, maybe it's Cass, I was like, why isn't it Jesse? Why is no one voting out Jesse?
Because it's fate. It's fate.
Jesse and Cody are running this game. Like easily, it seems like Carla seems to be at the top, I think, of like the strategic side as well. And like, I guess like after that Cass, and then Gabler seems to be maybe trailing behind. Sammy was like the furthest behind, and Owen. Let's not forget about Owen. It's too easy.
Owen just coming back.
Yeah, Owen has an impressive challenge performance in this episode, along with Carla in this Tides competition. But we've talked about like, can Owen win this game in the end?
Woo. He's a bit like Woo.
He's the Woo.
He's a bit like Woo, where he's just like kind of going along with, and he's good at competitions. And I just see a lot of similarities between the players, not regardless of the race, but like just like how if he gets to the end, he's not winning. You know what I mean? Like, I don't see any chance of him winning.
Does he not have the respect of like the jury or like the rest of the cast? Really, is that why? Because he's finally on the right side of this vote, guys. He voted Sammy out, so he was like, I've been 3 votes in a row. I voted the wrong way. I'm always the closest person.
Do we know for a fact that he voted for?
I went and verified. and looked at the video. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Owen is right. Owen was on the right side of the vote finally.
Because it was unanimous.
It was unanimous, 6-0.
It was hard not to be on the right side of that vote. You know what I mean? Like,
but Owen has been consistently on the wrong side of the vote.
It could have been Owen.
Owen has not voted. Owen has not voted the right way since Janine.
And Janine was his closest ally.
Yeah, because that was why, and that's why.
Right.
Right. Oh no, he voted her out. I don't know what to make of Owen's game. It's weird. And then Gabler's
hanging in. He's hanging in right now. That's pretty much what it is.
He's being dragged.
So he's Romeo. He's Romeo.
Yeah, he's Romeo. Yeah, he's being dragged this whole season because he's not a threat. He sucks strategically. He's stupid socially. Like as far as the game goes, and I just see like a player that is he's Romeo. He's a player everybody knows can't win, so you keep him around to like Final Four.
Yeah, I don't think he's as bad of a player or as disliked as Romeo was in his season, but yeah, I think he's sort of maybe that same character.
But even being disliked is actually better than just not even. I don't even think they care, honestly, at this point about him.
Yeah, well,
which is
speaking
worse.
Speaking of Owen, he was looking. They get this boat mail to start off the episode, guys, and everyone's looking for this.
Give me some blue string, Jeff.
Where's that blue string, guys? And and they can't find this this item for a while. How did you guys react to this with the everyone walking by it over and over and over again? And it wasn't until basically Cody puts his hand on it that he realizes that this is the item.
I didn't understand. I didn't understand. Like it's like the TV crew that was right there was like a red flag, and they were like not supposed to go to them. So they were gonna go to that tree and check it because everyone kept walking by. So they're just like, oh, sweet, good for Cassidy, Sammy, Gabler, and then of course, somehow Cody just happens to see it in his peripheral.
Yeah. Well, I didn't want Jesse to get it.
Why don't you want Jesse to get it?
No reason.
Team Seville.
Do I have it here? I don't have it. I have a clip of it here where, it's basically like, Gabler is like looking right at it at one point. Sorry.
It's great. You should have been watching the eyes of the cameraman. I'm just like,
here's one shot here with Owen. It's right behind him. Speaking of Owen, it was hard to understand. It was basically like that color here is the same color that they have on their buff, right? So but they were saying that specifically he was looking for blue string, and so I don't know how much time elapsed there. It felt like maybe the better part of the morning went by. Jaemeel, did you guys, in terms of how long they were looking around? But Gabler, he was leading trips here like he was Nam. I got the quote.
This is how they did it in Vietnam. They walked through the jungle in little teams of 4. Never usually above eye level. Am I right, guys?
I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Perfect response.
We weren't in Vietnam, Gabler.
I just would have been like, it just kept raining. It rained up. It rained so much, it rained from the ground.
Sometimes it rains sideways.
Yeah.
Come up from underneath.
Sometimes we gotta go off the path.
Yeah. And so, yeah, it was just like, okay, Gabler, he's always got like probably a quip on stuff. Like, and then ultimately he finds it. And okay, and so the challenge, I thought this twist was interesting that they give to Cody, where they're like, okay, you have this thing where you have to pick the winner of this next challenge, which is going to be like stay with the tide, or like hold out as longest while this water rises, while you hold your face against the grate. And if you pick the right winner, you can pick yourself, but if you pick the right winner, then you will win immunity. But it makes no sense to pick yourself, right? Because it's redundant. You wouldn't get 2 idols, right? So or 2 immunities.
So before you guys answer, because I haven't seen a lot of the seasons, right? 2 questions, right, to kind of start this off. 1, how many times have they done this challenge that they know so much about it, right? Because everyone knew about it, and then the other thing is, has this advantage been there before?
This is new.
This is new.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was new.
And
they hadn't done
have
this,
there been challenges before where, like, people are told ahead of time about the challenge? Yes.
Okay.
Now, do we know if Cody shared the information? Honestly, it doesn't really matter when it comes to this challenge, because it's not like you can prepare better for it. Either you're good at it or you're not.
Right, and I don't know. I guess it's like what kind of experience you have holding your breath is kind of what this comes down to, like lung capacity. The challenge itself, he ultimately picks the way. I thought it was interesting, but the way that it played out, and Cody can't even tell Jesse, who is closest ally, about this, right? That's how it felt. Jeff, did you have an idea like what the rules were around this thing?
Not really. I was just kind of watching it as to see who wouldn't drown. Because it seems like this seems like a really dangerous competition.
Yeah, well,
someone could pass out.
Probst was a little much,
Some of these swells are fast. Some of them really take their time. Another big, slow swell.
A really big, slow one.
Really milking it.
And this was.
How does he make the sound of like tide rising and going down? How does he make that like good commentary? Like it's not exactly exciting. It's literally watching the tide.
Yeah, but it was weird because
he was there for a while. He probably had a lot of takes.
He says you gotta keep digging.
You gotta keep digging.
But it's not.
Here's
digging.
my shovel, Jeff.
You're
Where's
climbing.
my shovel?
You're trying to get up, not down.
Yeah.
It's not dig.
You don't want to dig. You want to pull. You want to pull up.
You want, yeah. And then my favorite. Well, here, do we have another one here? Probst. Where he's just like, this is old school Survivor.
This is old school Survivor. Back when we inflicted a little more pain. Nice to revisit some of our old hunts.
Bring back the pain.
And I love the remix of the original Survivor theme right there in the music. It was a real cool moment. He's like, this is how we inflict pain until the tide goes back out, and then we both give you immunity idols. It should just be like, who can hold onto this grate until you can't do it anymore or something. I don't know.
So wait, do you think this was kind of manufactured?
The fact that they eventually the tide went in and then came back out, and so therefore the choice to let Owen and Carla both win this, I don't know. I was just curious if that had to be the option. Like the producers probably had some discussions behind the scenes of what to do here, but once the tide started coming back out and Carla and Owen could start talking and the intensity of the challenge was gone, I don't know how long
It becomes a
takes
question of who gets hypothermia first.
Right. Yeah. And so we're just going to call it. And so that was were you okay with that, Jeff, for that result?
I mean, yeah, like I think that's they mentioned that was what was the hardest part about the challenge. It wasn't the tide or the nearly drowning, but it was how cold it was. And so, I don't know. This whole challenge, I just feel like I think most people, I would not like it. It would really bother me to do this challenge because I do not like the feeling of being trapped, and I don't like the feeling of,
drowning.
Yeah, like
waterboarding yourself.
Drowning. Yeah, waterboarding yourself is essentially what's going on here. I just don't like this challenge. I think it's like borderline immoral.
Or torturous.
But no, they painted each of them with their own colors though, so it's okay.
Sam's okay with it.
Look, I love this challenge. I love this. I want, like, it feels like a lot of the challenges that we have, the endurance challenges, are like made to be quicker, so it's only like, only 45 minutes. They went the distance in this one. They went longer than they're like, well, there's no way they're going to survive past the tide. And the producers were like, holy crap, they're lasting the entire tide.
Two of them did this. Very impressive.
Yes. It was great.
How did Cody know that Owen would do so well at this challenge, I wonder? Does Owen have a background in swimming or holding his breath?
I think he does, actually, for swimming.
Okay.
No, but even if he didn't, it makes sense to do Cody. It's either do Cody, not Sammy, because Sammy seems he doesn't have the skill for it, or maybe Gabler.
I thought Gabler maybe, but Gabler went out first. So
Gabler's old.
Yeah. Carla was the surprise for me in this challenge and how well she did. Did you guys see this coming?
Carla's a challenge beast. I think. I think people are underestimating her.
I think this might be her season to lose at this point. Or, well, obviously Jesse and Cody are playing very well.
It's a three-headed dragon right now. Like,
what if that's the final? What if that's the final three? Like, who would win?
We would.
Yeah, I agree. It would be a great final three.
All deserving.
Sam's with you. He thinks the challenge should be banned, Jeff.
No.
No, I'm not. No, this one. No, it shouldn't be banned. That's. Not every season, but keep it around.
I think maybe the challenge should be banned. But I never watched it.
Fighting works for Foster, man.
It's not that bad. It's not
old claims from Jeff in the basement right now.
Yeah. I don't. All right, here. I like the fact that like Jaemeel said, it's a long endurance challenge. I wish they would do more of those. Like the fact that Jeff Probst has to be like, we used to actually challenge people out here, and now it's kind of like kid gloves. But this particular challenge would just bug me personally because I would be out quick because I just don't like the feeling of.
Whatever happened, just holding on to a pole for like as long as you could, or whatever.
Standing on top of
the 24-hour Tom Weston one.
Yeah, like that was.
Or what about the? That's why they had 3 days. What about the one where they hold their arm up with a bucket or whatever? That wasn't a good one.
Yeah, like even the one that Rudy and Kelly and Richard did in the original season, the final 3 challenge. I thought that was
Richard
good.
just gives up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm not doing this."
Yeah, but like the challenge between Kelly and Rudy was cool. Like they went on in there. This was like for something you're basically drowning somebody, but like they have the control just to swim out whenever they want. It was interesting. It was interesting to see how much these people were able to hold their breath. I couldn't do this. Like no way.
Do they have like divers right there in case?
No, they have to. Yeah, they have people on.
There's no way they would risk.
There's a lot of.
The divers probably ran out of oxygen. They're like, "Look, we got to end this challenge because if they drop."
Well, and I think if you're in trouble, like, there was a part here where like Cody was really like sort of trying to get air, and he was out of air, and he was waiting for like it to come back, the swell to go down, but it just wouldn't. He couldn't get air. He tries to do the thing with his hands to create a little tube. It's just not enough. Yeah. Sorry.
So don't take this challenge away from me. I already lost pressure cooker from Big Brother.
Yeah.
Don't take this away from me. This is great. This is like, you want people to get challenged into like like you want this. Like
Out of their comfort zone.
if someone told me if Carla and like Owen were just totally spent tomorrow, and they couldn't like really were up to a challenge, whatever it was, it would make sense. It would absolutely make sense. They killed themselves, right? We want to see that. Like, you want to make if we're gonna have a shorter, quicker Survivor, make these challenges more intense, or as intense as it used to be. Really make them like earn it.
I agree. I do enjoy the old school Survivor challenges more. I agree with everything you're saying. It's just this one challenge I don't like personally because of the near drowning stuff. But that's me. Like, as a viewer, I agree with you, Jaemeel. But if I had to compete in this competition, I would not.
I would be first out. I'm not competing in this. Like, I already talked about it last week. I didn't even know that this. Well, did I know? Yeah, we knew that this challenge was happening, and I mentioned that. Don't think that just because someone has a lot of experience in the water that they would be the winners of it, because there's also a lot of traumas that come from being in the water. And I mentioned my trauma with like when I was dealing with for a good portion of my life where because I previously almost drowned, like water over my head, I would hyperventilate. It doesn't take much for like people to get, you know, a situation come back. It could have been easy. Cody, you know, had a bad, serious wipeout, and you know he was, you know, in his desperation for getting air, he could have lasted longer. But you know, the traumas start sneaking in where you know he couldn't handle it and he had to leave. Like it could be as simple as that for the reason why he didn't last as long.
Safety risk, says Sam. What's the safety first?
Some people are destined to burn and drown.
You want to tell us the story of how you almost drowned?
Not really.
Relive that.
Okay,
not really.
Frozen Lakes right now. Frozen Lake, you're good. Nothing can hurt you, Jaemeel.
Look, I'm here today, so it didn't win. The water didn't win. I won.
That's good. You were
Just like it didn't win with Carla and Owen.
Oh, and okay, yeah. So they both win this. So now there's only 7 people left, and they all assume that Cody, because Cody smiles once this ends, and he knows that he's won with either Owen or Carla having got it. Everyone kind of read that. So now 3 of them are safe, 4 of them are vulnerable. Jesse, Jesse, Gabler, Cassie, and of course Sammy, who ends up getting voted out. But no one wants to vote. It's everyone but Jesse is discussed. No one, except for Owen, a little bit. Owen kind of mentions in one of his confessionals that, you know, I don't know, I like Jesse, but I want to vote him out.
Why is that? Like, why is Jesse so like immune? Like, you know,
because it's fate.
The fate.
Because Gilligan's Island must be covered.
It might be a final 3 of Carla, Jesse, and Cody.
Has he received a vote yet, Jesse or Cody?
He's had to.
I don't think Jesse has.
Has Jesse received a vote against him?
I don't think so. Cody has.
I don't think so. No.
That's crazy if he hasn't.
I don't think he has.
Jesse has no votes against him. No one's even said, okay, not even that. Barely anyone has said Jesse's name as like a potential person to vote out. Only Gabler once brought it up to Carla, and it didn't happen, right? But
he's Adam Klein. He's like almost the exact same player. And it's like I just like he's good, but you don't like the way he's good. That's how I feel about him.
It's almost too easy for him. It feels like.
Yeah, it's like he just skates by. You know, he doesn't really get challenged, and that's how I felt about Adam Klein's game. I just thought he kind of skated by a lot and just kind of wasn't targeted and was always kind of in a good spot. Not because he was such a great player, but because of the circumstances of the season, and because he was good at not putting himself out there. You know, and that's how I feel about Jesse. He's kind of the very similar player, you know, where the game just comes to him and he just kind of goes, okay. And then, you know, he is smart. He doesn't shoot himself in the foot, you know, but is that the least we can ask of a winner these days? Like, is that, you know what I mean? Like,
who do you feel right now of the cast? Now you've lost Sammy out of this draft. Who is the most deserving to win? Who would you say, okay, that person won and I feel the best about it right now if it were to end at this moment?
I would say it would be between Carla and Cody for me, you know. Jesse is just, to me, he hasn't been challenged. His name's never been thrown out there, you know, so he hasn't had to really play that way.
But that's like he's like almost like a Derek Levasseur kind of style.
I don't like those players. I don't give those people credit. Because yes, Kim Sprodlin, same thing. She's the most amazing player. It's just, but you were never on the bottom. You were always on the top.
So it's hard to respect.
If your skill was to make sure that you were never in that position in the first place, and to build trust that people would never like bring your name up, like
I agree.
That's hiding in plain sight.
Isn't that Dr. Will?
No, Dr. Will was targeted a lot, and he purposely threw challenges and literally said, "Vote me out." There was Russell Hantz. He was down to 4 people against like 7, and he came back. Boston Rob. Boston Rob played when he won, but at least and nobody liked it. Everyone was mad when he won because it was just like, oh, you didn't even get challenged. This is my whole point. I need to see some adversity when someone wins.
How about you, Foster? What do you look for in a Survivor player? Are you looking for an underdog? Are you looking for someone who's just going to run the game and be like have all the outwit, outlast, outplay, all 3 categories like maxed out?
I guess. First of all, I'm a realist, so I understand that this is not the same Survivor as it used to be, right? So first of all, lower your expectation. And
bring it down. Bring it down
a notch. That's what I'm learning. Don't get so. It's just don't. But what I'm finding is that it's the social part of the game has really taken like control of the game, whereas before it was like immunities, like individual immunity wins are still a big part of it, obviously, right? Are still the same, but I guess the threat of knowing someone could win those a lot is not as relevant in this season, at least I'm finding, right? So it's more of like even like the talk tonight, they're talking about like Carla and Cassidy because they're such a strong pair, right? But for some reason, they're not telling us that, like once again, give us indications that people are talking about Cody and Jesse. They're a strong pair, and Gabler's the third, right? So
right.
I don't understand. So once again, the way that like you said, excuse me, Jaemeel, it's fate for Jesse, right? The way that they're playing it off, it's like, he's under the radar to the audience, right? So that he's when it's his time, I guess, he really, really shines. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And plus, when he pulls, if he's able to keep that immunity idle and pull a Marianne during Final Tribal, people are gonna be odd. Like, hey, we thought we could take him out at any time, and we never eliminated him. But even if we did want to, he wasn't in any danger.
Let me ask you this, Jaemeel, though. What did you make? I imagine you liked it, where Jesse's plan here was like, let's get Carla, or let's get Cass to vote for Carla, or whatever. It was one of the vice versa, right? So that it was only Carla not be on the right side of this vote. We'll intentionally lie to her, tell her it's Cass, and then we'll still have vote Sammy, and then that way, Cass and Carla are at odds when we come back, right? That was kind of what he pitches, and Cody's like, that seems too dirty, man. That doesn't seem surfer style. Like, what was your reaction to that?
Sometimes when you're too successful, you think that you can do anything and you can pitch anything, and sometimes you're wrong. And he was wrong. Like, it's too cute. It's that is too cute.
Too cute. It felt like Jesse's he's thinking 2 steps ahead, and he's thinking, okay, like I don't want Carla has a good story at the end to win as much as he does, right? So I got to think that Jesse's planning to cut Carla sooner than later, as the next biggest threat, but it's all about timing. When's he going to want to do it?
I don't think it was necessarily wanting to, like, Carla getting out next doesn't make much sense in my opinion, or Cassidy right now. You got
in this final 6.
You gotta get to 5, and then into fire is where you make that move.
We have two from each of the original 3 tribes, guys, left in this game. Gabler and Owen from Baka. We have Carla and Cassidy from Coco, and of course Cody and Jesse from Vessi. And so, but I guess of those, like, so it seems like Cassidy and Carla are kind of a pair, but it's nebulous, and they seem to kind of go back and forth. And then are Gabler and Owen a thing? No, right?
I think by default they are.
Well, he says to him in this episode, like, "I've got a path. You, me, Owen. We're going to Final 3. We're going to do it." And Owen's like, "Sure." Like, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, are we going to Vietnam again, Gabler?
Lieutenant Gabler. He's doing. My daddy, he died in World War II.
This is how they did it in Vietnam.
Died in World War One.
Yeah, one of his relatives died in every major American war.
Oh, okay. I feel like Owen's gonna go with whoever. Well, okay, What did Sammy put? I'll read Sam's message. Okay, final 5 is Jesse, Cody, Gabler, Carla, and Owen.
I mean, Cassidy's getting voted out next.
He thinks Cass is next. They keep wanting to vote her out, and they never do. Right? But every time she's in the conversation, I'm like, just vote her out already, because you always kind of want to vote her out, and you never do, and it's driving me crazy. Like, vote her out or don't.
This is my problem with Survivor at the end game, especially like the 8, 7, 6, like those votes, because what happens inevitably is 2 to 3 people are immune. It's too many. Because look, how many people were immune in tonight's vote?
3, almost 4. If Sammy's shot in the dark worked.
I was thinking that we might have saw Idol get in, advantage get in, because if let's say Sammy's shot in the dark work, and then Carla plays her idol on Cassidy, and Jesse plays his idol on himself, or Cody plays his idol on Jesse.
I think
Gabler's out.
I think the rule should be, I don't know what the rule is, but I suspect it's like you can play it at any time when he asks. Because you don't want to play an advantage or immunity idol, now's the time to do so. But I think the shot in the dark should come after you have chosen to play your idol or not. If you have an immunity idol, anybody want to play an immunity idol? No. Okay. Does anyone want to play a shot in the dark? And now, because you shouldn't be able, if Sammy plays his shot in the dark and then gets immunity, and then Jesse changes his mind and wants to play his idol, that's BS. You can't do that.
Who says you can't?
I say that shouldn't be the rule.
I'm saying, I absolutely agree with you. They should put that in stone that you can't play immunity idol after someone has done a shot in the dark. I agree. But they haven't set that rule.
They haven't set that precedent. Rule.
I would certainly wait. I'm like, let's see if he gets shot in the dark before I even think about using my idol.
How about they raise the odds for the shot in the dark? Nobody has gotten it to work. Nobody.
It hasn't been played that much too to begin with.
It's been played at least 8 times, 7 or 8 times.
Let's check.
It's only 1 in 6 though. It's like rolling a dice, and you have to get a 6. And if you roll it enough times, you will. But if you only roll it once, you only get one chance to roll it. You probably won't.
The chances you get it ever in a 1 in 6.
Yeah, this was a very entertaining tribal council, I thought, especially with Jesse playing this shot in the dark. I loved how Carla was annoyed by it, because he's like, well, it doesn't. If the plan is what I think it is, it doesn't matter, right? She's like, well, people are counting on you to vote for the right thing, in case his shot in the dark does win, and then maybe one of her allies ends up going here because there's one vote against somebody or something that they didn't predict, because these 7 are just sitting on that beach all day thinking about how they're going to game this, how they're going to try to outmaneuver each other into this final end game, right? So it's like, if Sammy doesn't do what we planned for, then we don't have that contingency worked out.
I'm surprised one player didn't vote someone else, because you never know, if that shot in the dark works, then whoever Sammy would have decided who went home.
And okay, but let's say, Jaemeel, you're right here, that Sammy plays the shot in dark, he gets it, okay, and then Carla plays her idol on Cass, and then Jesse plays his idol, so only Gabler can be voted out now. He doesn't have an idol, right?
No, I don't think so.
He doesn't.
Yeah, I can't even keep track of who has all the idols.
6 people have done the shot in the dark.
Okay, and none have ever gotten it, right?
None have ever gotten it.
I feel like I've said this in the past. I feel like 1 in 6 is a little too low. I feel like it should, because if you lose your vote, I feel like that there's like maybe 1 in 5 is maybe a little more fair. I don't know.
But it's a 6-sided die. They literally roll a dice, right?
Yeah.
I think so. I think
Yeah,
that's
I think they shake a dice in a thing, and then
it's
they
like
hit it
Yahtzee.
down. I think so.
Yeah, and they go Yahtzee. Oh no, not safe. It's just like, and you are not safe.
I'm
And
just
we
saying,
haven't seen it.
If you get 6, you should automatically 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5 chance in the dark? No, that's too much.
That's
1 in
too
5, maybe. 1 in 5 might make.
1 in 5 might be a little better.
I would
than
say
1.
that if you get 6, you're safe. If you get 1, they forego all the votes and you're automatically out.
If you
And then let's say 5 and 1 vote doesn't count. That's getting too complicated, so I rescind my suggestion.
You can go to a Dungeons and Dragons store and get a 5-sided dice. They exist. Don't worry. You can get that on production. You know, I'm sure you can get them in Fiji. So it's at least on
Survivor
order.
starts producing their own 5-sided die.
Well, I just think the odds are a little too. It feels too bleak, and I would like to see this Shot in the Dark be a little bit more tempting and maybe play out on camera a bit more often.
But
I wish, they made that higher odds and then less idols, and then people would play the Shot in the Dark more, throw away their vote. That's way more exciting than playing an idol, in my opinion. But
I just feel like the reason why Shot in the Dark has only happened 6 times in how many in the season, especially with that many tribal councils, is because people actively try to position people so they don't use a Shot in the Dark. That's the whole thing. That's the strategy, and it's not fun, and so they don't show it. People are spending so much time trying to convince people not to do Shot in the Dark. That's why Carla was so pissed off, is because that's the mentality a lot of people have. Don't do Shot in the Dark. It's whatever, right? Don't do it. And you listen to enough interviews, and they're like, "Why did you all do this certain thing?" Well, we were trying to make sure that the person didn't use Shot in the Dark. Like that's an ongoing theme.
Yeah, well, I think if you make it even higher odds, it will be even more exciting. So just slightly, 1 in 5, just give it a shot. See if that makes it a little different. Tweak it, see how that plays out. Because I do like it as sort of this looming threat that we kind of forget about sometimes. But it's so like, bah, 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 like all 6 times it's ever happened. And when it does finally happen, it's going to be epic. Right, but it's I guess I'm getting impatient with it. I want to see it play out.
You gotta wait till next season.
I guess so, unless it happens again this season. And like, there's so many idols and advantages, and people are got so much going.
But no one uses it, Dave.
Nobody uses it either,
so it doesn't matter.
They're all saving them for a rainy day. They all. Maybe they have to have more expiry limits. I kind of like that, something like that.
Gabler had a expiry. You didn't even use it.
Yeah.
Still didn't use it.
He's like, I can only use it at this tribal, but I'm not going to. Just for no particular reason. Foster, do you like the Shot in the Dark?
Can you explain the rules fully to me again, please? Because I'm not with the I don't know the history of it, right? So what's the exact?
Sure.
Okay, I have a page already up around it. Okay, so at the start of each game, every castaway receives a 6-sided die. If a player receives a certain perceives trouble at Tribal Council, they may invoke the Shot in the Dark once at any point until the final 7 or final 6 in Survivor 42 scenario. So to do so, the player would not vote and instead insert their die into a smaller urn next to the voting urn, after which a player will randomly select one of the rolled up parchments from the container. So no rolling, right? The player takes their selected scroll to their seat, and the host returns with the voting urn. When the host asks if someone wants to play an advantage or hidden immunity idol, the players who use the Shot in the Dark must present their still open scroll, and if it reads safe, all votes against them are negated, similar to how an idol is played. Now, if a scroll reads not safe, all votes cast against the player will remain valid, and the gamble is considered unsuccessful.
And what's the odds?
1 in 6.
So prior to the merge, the urn contains 6 scrolls with only 1 reading safe. When the tribes merge to 12 players, the number of scrolls are increased to 12, with 2 readings safe to maintain the same odds as the pre-merge phase of the game.
2 and 12. Okay.
1 and
Right?
6.
So that technically makes it worse.
Yeah, there's more scrolls.
There's more scrolls, more chances.
They should just keep it. They should just keep have
So everyone has this opportunity.
up until Final 7/Final 6.
Really?
So now it's done.
Unless you lose your ball, which some people have. They lost their shot in the dark.
But Sammy was smart to play this year, right? He had nothing to lose.
Yep.
You know, and still then they were like, no, don't do it, Sammy. You know,
Because it was only bad for them. And good, it was good for him. He was going to give it anyway.
It was all downside for them. There was no upside for them for him to do this, right? So
Exactly.
Should he have pretended to steal to use the knowledge's power? Lie and say that he.
Yeah, like I don't know what else he could have done really here, other than not botch that last vote, and he had not played the middles long. Like that's where his game went wrong, was weeks ago, right? So it just caught up to him here, and it's so strange too with Sammy to see he was so in control in the early days of Baca, and Gabler was more of this outcast. And it feels like Gabler's better positioned. He's still in the game, obviously. He's in the final 6. So
Chaos is a ladder.
Chaos is a ladder. Because what do we say?
When things seem crazy, seem crazy, Gabler's in his element, and when things were calm and everyone's like, "What the hell is Gabler doing?" Right? They didn't understand him, or he didn't understand the pace of the game. So.
All right, let's just do a quick draft check-in here, guys, as we will cross off Sammy from eligibility here. He was the 5th juror now in this season here. Yeah, Jeff, you have Cassidy left, though. Your team still...
So I'm a shoe in the win.
Cassidy, of course... I'm sorry?
Where's your team, Dave?
My team it was a very bad team.
Dave, what happened?
I have a combined amount of 16 days between the two of them. It was not good. They went out right back-to-back episodes as well. That was
brutal. That was brutal.
Yeah, it was it was early. I have the third boot and the 4th boot, respectively, with NECA and Lindsay. So
Lindsay, bad pick.
That was a bad one. I picked her because she was a big super fan, but it didn't really work out. She overplayed it. Amanda's out of this, of course. She had Dwight and Noel, and Jen's still alive with Carla. She also had Ellie, if you've ever heard of her. And Team Sean is got Gabler left. Daryl has Owen. Daryl holding on with Owen. He's probably gonna say, "Yep, Owen gonna win this season. Watch."
I don't think so.
Number one choice is still on the board.
Jane loves her Cody too. She's always cheering for her Cody. But Team Samuel for life.
Fester Nino. That's what I call Cody.
Sam, you gotta scroll it down to a 4. We haven't won yet. Yet.
Yeah. And you had first pick, so it's not like Dave could have picked us.
Yeah,
very true.
Yeah, there was no one else. I had the what pick was I in this one? I was down the list. I was 7th in this trip. I took NECA over Gabler. I took NECA over Cassidy,
which I don't think is a bad. I don't think that's a bad choice.
I took. I couldn't have Carla. I couldn't have Owen or Cody. Or Sammy.
Look, Jeff took Cassidy last. Right?
Yeah, you got Cassidy last, and he could win now because he was assigned the last pick in our draft, basically, because we had.
I picked the person who lasted 3 days.
Yeah. Well, if they do another 18-person season, Foster, we should just get you in on this draft so that we don't have to have 2 teams of 3, and that would probably help things.
Sounds good.
If you're good.
I like when they do 20 people seasons. Like I like that. I wish they bring that back. But the problem is days.
Sorry, can you go back to the draft for a second? Is this like a dynasty league? Can I trade picks?
No. Well, we haven't gotten that
on the draft board.
We have a draft board. We have who's won the most draft. Right so far, we do Big Brother and Survivor, and whoever has won the most drafts overall. Hold on, I have a a tally
bring
sheet.
Bring it up.
Let me get it. Where who's won the most seasons of the respective shows?
Not me.
I've never won Survivor. I've won Big Brother.
What about you, Jeff? What have you won?
I've won both, but I only recently have. I think I've won a couple of times, but I've not. I don't have the most
Jeff
wins.
is tied with.
I did win Survivor. Who did I win Survivor?
You won Survivor Edge of Extinction with Chris. Remember the guy who got voted out fifth? And then
that was a BS win. That was a back.
That was a BS win.
That would be like if Lindsay came back and won this season.
Yeah.
Just so we can have.
That was a BS win. I can't believe I won that season. I
that was
almost
my
did it again.
Season, but I think of all seasons, I hated that.
The crazy thing about that, Jeff, is I almost did it again. If Natalie won Survivor 40, I would have done it twice. That's so
I also
ridiculous.
didn't like that. I hate that Edge of Extinction. Yes, I hated that clip.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I haven't won a lot better than that shit.
So I still need to win Big Brother Canada, and then I will have the trifecta that Dave has.
Nobody has all four though. Big Brother Celebrity is the other one. Don't forget.
Celebrity doesn't look. Bless your heart, Amanda, Jane, Sean.
This
Big
is my
Brother,
favorite one. When Jane won with
count.
Tamar in Celebrity Big Brother 2, who was also our last pick in that draft, and Jane won the season with the last pick. So that's good. That's something special when you win with that one, I think. Anyway, so that's where things stand, Foster. You would be coming in trying to at least catch up. You're not a Big Brother guy, but in terms of right.
We'll work into it. Maybe I don't know. Like once we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Look, if the first Big Brother you're gonna watch is Canada, coming off of last Big Brother, I think you're gonna like it a lot.
Jaemeel he says he's gonna be due for his next win, his third to tie. It's like me, Jeff, Jane, and Daryl are all tied for first right now. Jen's in the last one, but everyone's won at least once, so it's something. 19 total drafts so far. This will be the 20th once we finish it. So,
and then we'll get the challenge on there, and in future years, so I'll trade my draft picks for considering.
I'll trade a challenge draft pick for a Survivor future consideration or something like that.
I'm not even talking once a week. I'm talking like every 2-3 weeks. They will ease you into it.
Foster, I would immediately trade all of my challenge draft picks. I'm not going to win the challenge.
Jane's proud of her Celebrity Big Brother win with Tamar.
Who did she pick?
Tamar Braxton. Tony Braxton's sister, who was an interesting player to say the least. And went on to win that season. But that was the last pick, and that's like if Jeff wins with Cassidy this time, same thing.
Cassidy's the new Chris Kattan.
Cassidy. But I took Chris Kattan like second overall. Oh my god, that was the worst. Where's my? I gotta go back to my Chris Kattan clips.
It was such a Foster. It was so horrible.
He loves King.
Makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
I'm a little bit wigged out.
The dude just slept in a cake. He just slept in a cake. That's all he did in that Celebrity Big Brother. He had no clue how the game worked at all.
No.
Yeah.
Didn't care either. It was just he made me realize that some celebrities are like not like normal people, at all. He's one of them.
Yeah, he was just like, what's up
I
with this
think
guy?
I think he's absolutely normal. So normal that he's like, what is this that my manager signed me up for? My agent signed me up for? I thought like 30 days. I don't know.
Meow. I always want what's in the box. What's in the box?
What's in the box? That was there.
That was unexpected. And I know we should expect the unexpected, but that was one I did not expect.
Foster, it just felt like someone told him, hey, you're going to do this for a couple of days, you get your name out there, and then you'll just move on to the other thing.
It was like when Scaramucci was on there, the mooch from like Trump's press secretary or whatever he was. And he was like, what is this show? I have to dress up like a clown sometimes and wear like a baby bib or something. He's like, I'm leaving. I'm going to Switzerland to go to like some Goldman Sachs conference or something. And they're like, yeah, he was a fake contestant. He was never in the season. It was all a misdirect. You're like, what? No, get out of here. How are we supposed to take you seriously? Production in particular.
Celebrity Big Brother is a joke.
You want an Ellie sound? Well, all right. We can.
Bruh. You only
Yeah,
have one.
I only have the 2, but.
Yeah, so I feel evil. But all of its survivor glory just singing.
Remember when she was on the show?
No.
So long ago.
Kinda.
I'm not old enough to remember that.
She was huge for the pre-merge, guys. Come on. So, question here for Foster. Who from this season do you see going into the challenge from this particular season from Survivor?
Well, Ryan would probably be just because of his Cody.
Cody.
Probably the obvious choice.
Maybe Noelle?
No, unfortunately not. No, there's
You can't
no
see
way.
it? No.
Carla.
Is it?
Carla?
Would it be too hard for Noelle to do?
No, you don't think Carla?
Noelle, it would be the types of challenges they do, like they'll hit water at like high impact and stuff and fall from big like high distances and stuff, right? So I don't know how like something like that even would affect her. I don't know, like it's not impossible, I'm not saying, but I don't like the way that the challenges are built, especially the eliminations as well. She would have a very tough time when she have to battle somebody, right, to stay alive. But like I said, like Cody,
Like a hallway fight?
well, yeah, that would be kind of a little difficult, wouldn't you think?
It's like, is the challenge you have to touch the other side of the hallway to win?
No, it's like, well, you have to go through like there's an opening and then there's a bell, right? You got to hit the bell.
So why doesn't she just take off her leg and throw her foot at the bell and ring the bell?
Well, what she should do first is use it like a jousting, and use that to charge at them, and then throw it and then hit the bell.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
But
if
yeah,
someone
like,
told me that happened, I would watch it.
I don't see anybody else. Like
Ellie?
I didn't see enough of Ellie, but probably not. Sammy, no way.
We got to see that Jonathan from last season.
Sammy's 19. He's got to be 21. They don't, because they go to some of their, because they go off location, to like bars and stuff and clubs.
Can he get a note from his mom?
He's probably 20 now.
My mom. He's probably 21 by the time.
Nobody else though could do it though. Jesse, no way. Same with like Gabler's too old. But
I was like, no, Jesse's not going on the challenge. He can't even fall.
Stop it!
He can't even get out of a boat without falling on his like back of his.
Josh is not on this season, and I was quite surprised.
Yeah, he wants to know if you've seen the this new season yet.
The first episode, so don't spoil anything.
That Jonathan guy's got to be on the challenge, man.
Is it everyone versus Jonathan? Like he's Thanos?
Yeah. He could be an American Gladiator.
Like it seems like that he's like the protege of Lex Luger, right?
Right.
Jonathan.
Yeah.
So he's got something else. Where's my Jonathan clip when I need one? Just we climb up the mountain and then we come back. When I was a kid,
we all thought Terrence was a dud, but
no, that's not him. That's Joseph. Sorry.
When I was young, my dad, he used to wake me up and he would tell my brother and I to run up a mountain and race, and whoever lost had to do it 3 more times.
Sounds like a terrible.
That should be banned. That should be banned.
You imagine Dad like doing that with us as kids. Like whoever loses this race will have to run it 3 more laps.
So if Jonathan was in this challenge, would he just lift the gate so it's further up in the air?
Would it be worse if like whoever won the race he had to go run it 3 more times? Like would that be worse? Like I don't know.
Or you just walk it.
Can Canadians go on the challenge?
There has been, but that was like their older show, like when they. Like, because they used to have like one show, like a pipeline from the real world. Yeah, that was like that was where they got all their talent from, and then that show ended. So, but I had some Canadians then, not that I've seen though lately, and they've gone international, but not to Canada.
Well, sometimes Canada, like now in Survivor, Canadians can go on Survivor, so we don't need a Survivor Canada. And I think
Never did.
Huh? What's that?
They never did need a Survivor.
They never did Survivor Canada, thankfully. They did the Amazing Race Canada, which sucks. I don't think it's very good at
Exactly.
all.
People do like Amazing Race Canada.
I watch it with Amanda sometimes, and it's just like one season they'll actually travel the world, but lately it's just like, let's go to Northwest Territories.
Dave, go to Whitehorse? Not really.
Dave, what would you prefer, Amazing Race Canada or Tough as Nails?
Oh God, Tough as Nails is the worst thing ever.
Tough as Nails would not be for me. I'm not tough as nails. So it would.
Who thought of that show? Let's get a bunch of contractors together and make them compete. It's like, what?
You should be the first Newfoundlander to go on Survivor, Sam.
They would have to get like subtitled.
Yeah, well, remember that guy? Who was the Newfoundlander who was on a couple seasons ago? You remember him in Big Brother Canada? And he was incomprehensible sometimes, like what he was saying. So they might need the subtitles. Yeah, okay, so guys, I think we can wrap up tonight for this episode of Survivor 43. Thanks for being with us on this podcast. We hope you've enjoyed. We think we have only 2 episodes left, guys, right? Or so? We got probably next week, and then the finale the week after that.
It's usually 2-3 weeks into December, so we're hitting that marker.
Yeah. Got this final 6. It's an interesting final 6, and even as much as like somebody like Owen might be the being dragged or the goat of the season, I think that there's a lot of like interesting stories here, and a lot of people they've all had their merits, and their moments in this season. So I think that there's a story to be told for any of them. So looking forward to see how this plays out. I've liked this season better than the 2 previous ones, even though
there's no Canadians in this season.
No Canadians in this season, but I digress. Okay, so we'll be back next week here on Super Mater Brothers Podcasting.
What's the episode called?
Title undetermined. I don't think it's been released yet, has it? No. Yeah, we don't know the name of the next episode. That's weird that it's not out yet, but I can't find it. So we'll have to find. Maybe it's a spoiler. Maybe the title's a spoiler, or they don't want to put it out.
Carla gets voted out.
Carla wins. Yeah, if Carla's voted out, Cassidy gets immunity. That's the name of the.
Spoiler alert: the next week is the finale.
Wait, what? Next week's finale?
Seriously?
No, I don't know.
Okay.
But no, we were like, that could be true. We don't know. So
that's why there's no title, because they're just they're trying to.
The next episode is Return of Ellie. How Ellie comes back.
Don't tempt this man. Don't tempt him.
Ellie strikes back.
Ellie strikes back. She's actually been on the edge of extinction the whole time, and then she comes back in.
In all of its Survivor glory, just singing.
What is the sound effect at the end of the clip? I don't understand.
Yeah, it's me. Yeah. I don't know. It's like yeah, they put that in there. Yeah. Like I don't know.
It's so silly. Sometimes
in all of its Survivor glory, just singing.
Sometimes usually Big Brother's the one that's that silly, but sometimes Survivor, like it acts like it's all serious, but then sometimes they have stuff like that, and you're like, who thought of that? Like
this is old school Survivor. Singing.
Yeah. December 14th is last episode.
Okay, so we have next week and then the finale, right? And the finale will be probably like a 2-hour episode or a 3-hour episode, if we're unlucky. So, okay, we'll wrap up tonight. Make sure to check out all of our other stuff. We've covered Big Brother. As we mentioned, you saw our drafts and different things here on the Super Mater Brothers Podcasting, of course. We are part of a bigger network of podcasts called the United Federation of Podcasts, which is all kinds of great podcasts, including a Simpsons podcast with my cousin and yours, Davan Skelhorn, now with Baker and the other guy. I haven't learned his name yet.
You're getting closer each time.
Every time, I'm getting closer. But they're on Fridays covering every episode of The Simpsons. They just started, guys. They started on episode 1 last week. So it's a great time to get on board and follow along with their ongoing journey to watch that show. The Graphics History Podcast, which is a podcast that Andre Mayette hosts. It's an audio podcast looking into the great histories of the graphic novels and artists and interviews and all kinds of great content there. Hold Up is a movie podcast with Davan, my cousin, and yours, along with Chris Murphy, where they watch 3 movies dummies, 2 from the 20th century, 1 from the 21st century, and they figure out which holds up better. This one they're doing on Wednesday is going to be Jaemeel, help me out. What is it?
Environmentalism. So
environmentally, they're talking about like Medicine Man with Sean Connery and like Soylent Green, and things like that.
And I Heart Huckabees, which I don't understand the connection.
I don't get that one either. But is that the one that Murphy picked?
Yes.
Yeah,
where the director freaked out and yelled at Lily Tomlin and the majority of the cast. If you ever have a spare time, watch that clip of just, you've never seen a person freak out like that. It's like a petulant child just going on. He leaves the set and then he comes back like a minute later. He's still yelling. It's great.
Yeah. So check that out. Wednesdays, hold up. Then X-Rated, the X-Men animated series review show. That's with Andre and Davan on Tuesdays. They're into the 3rd season of X-Men, going through the cartoon from the 90s, going through all of those episodes. There's the Hellbound podcast, Michael Chan, Alex Blackburn, a horror-themed podcast. That comes out on Wednesdays. Plus, did you know, Trivial Debates, a great show where we argue about movies, TV, sports, and more. We just had a great music-themed episode this just last Sunday with Davan Skelhorn. Eamon Mater was competing along with Jaemeel Robinson and Ryland Forsyth. That was a lot of fun. But you're hearing it here first, guys. The announcement, a special end of season 5 Christmas episode of Trivial Debates being announced here right now. Coming up on Saturday, December 17th. We got Davan Skelhorn, Max Duda, and Sterling Slowcock Bennett competing here.
Why do you look like a pirate? Let's go.
He's in the outback. He's in Australia. So.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. Wait. Are you sure you're able to? Oh, 17 in the morning. Okay, makes sense.
We're doing this in the morning. We're doing this at this specific time. That way Sterling can do it. So this is why we picked this particular time.
I thought there was a trip that you're all going to on the 17th.
Later in the day.
Theater. Okay.
No, we're doing that the day before.
I know, but we moved it from the 17th to the 16th because of the trip.
Yes, which is in the afternoon, so I'll be fine. I'll be fine for the afternoon.
Okay. Just looking out, Dave. Just want to make sure that everything's on schedule still.
No, thank you, Jaemeel. Speaking of which, Jaemeel Robinson and I, if you didn't know, we're the founders of Live Long and Podcast, a Star Trek-themed channel where we talk about Star Trek all the time, going through TV shows like Star Trek Enterprise, Deep Space Nine. Tomorrow we'll be on talking about Star Trek Prodigy, and we do Star Trek Radio Theater, which is like, not this one. This is the wrong Star Trek Radio Theater. The Star Trek Radio Theater, where we're doing Star Trek 5, The Final Frontier, the day before, December 16th. Where we're going to play all the different parts. Jameel's going to be Scotty. I'm going to be McCoy. Jeff's going to be Chekhov. It's going to be great. Check that out. Plus, the Locutors of Trek, which also falls under Live Long and Podcast. And I'm going to be on Sunday night doing a Klingon trivia with Dave Pugsley and Davan Skelhorn. Whew, that's a lot of different podcasts.
Yeah. And then also applying for membership eventually is let's talk about fighting games.
Yes.
Podcast.
They're like Bajor. Like he's Sam Jerka. Let's
Paranoia.
Super Smash Bros.
Super Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, it's all coming
They're
together.
going to be talking about the next episode, which will be coming out eventually. Would be talking about the new character introduced to Guilty Gear Strive. So check that out.
All right. Well, thanks for being with us tonight, everybody. We hope you liked it, and I think we're going to go out. Huh? We'll go here on Sammy. Let's
put myself out there as a free agent, right? And everybody else is deciding whether I am the guy who's at the end of his career who you don't really want to give a chance anymore, or the guy who's at the end of the career who you give the 1-year contract because that guy can still produce for you a little bit and get you to the next vote.